Hey guys, Mr. Morgan here with another instructional video for remote learning. Today is Monday, 10/12. So what we are doing today is we are starting our section on current affairs. Where we left off, we finished talking about Nelson Mandela, which brings us up to modern day Southern and Eastern Africa. So the next couple of days, we're going to be spending a little bit of class doing notes and then the rest of class doing some sort of activity about those notes. So today, we are starting section 3, Southern and Eastern Africa Today notes. So go ahead and get the PDF notes for those out. Okay, so if we have the PDF notes out, then we can go ahead and get started working on this. We don't have a whole lot to go through. I think there's only 11 things that we need to fill in. There's 2 vocab words, and one of them is pretty small, and we've already covered it before. So starting with a variety of ethnic groups and religions. That's what this whole first section is going to be about. We're talking about the people in Southern and Eastern Africa today, and so we need to figure out the different kinds of people that we find in this area. So most people in Southern and Eastern Africa are indigenous, which we have mentioned before. Indigenous people are native to the region. The region, that is our first vocab word. There are many different groups of people in the region. They belong to hundreds of ethnic groups, speak different religions or speak different languages, and practice many different religions. Some ethnic groups live in a single country, while others stretch across different borders. This is because when the Europeans moved in and colonized the entire area, they just created borders at random, not paying attention to where certain peoples were within the continent of Africa. And so when they left, those borders for the most part stayed, and we see ethnic groups that cross borders, ethnic groups that exist beyond multiple borders, and borders that contain many different ethnic groups. So the largest groups in the area are the Zulu and the Xhosa in South Africa, the Kikuyu in Kenya, and the Hutu and the Tutsi in Rwanda, which we're going to talk about the Hutu and the Tutsi later on, I think on Wednesday. Many no longer practice their traditional ways of life. So the traditional ways of life, that being farming and raising cattle or one specific type of agriculture, they no longer practice many of those ways of life and have moved on to more modern things like living in cities and adopting different ideas and gaining education. So now we're going to talk about language. So the diverse people of Southern and Eastern Africa, they're being diverse, would obviously speak many different languages. Most of these languages come from the Bantu language, which we talked about. The Bantu people came from Western Africa in about 500 AD, and because they were at the time more advanced than the people in Southern Africa, the people in Southern Africa adopted the Bantu language, and over time those languages evolved into many of the different languages we see in the region of Southern and Eastern Africa today. So we also see languages from outside of Africa also playing a role. So English is a second language in many countries because of the large impact that imperialism and colonialism had in the area. And we also see this in the language of Afrikaans, which is spoken mainly by the white South Africans, or the people that came from the Dutch colonists in the country of South Africa. More about religion or language. More about language is we have Arab influences on the language as well. So it's not just the European colonialism and the English language that came with that. We also see Arabic have a big impact on areas as well. Northern areas like Sudan speak majority Arabic because they are so close to the Arab world, and the mixture of Arabic and the Bantu language creates different languages like Swahili. Swahili is one of the largest languages and most spoken languages in this region of Southern and Eastern Africa, and it is a newer language that combines aspects of Bantu and Arabic. It was developed because of trade between Eastern Africans and Arabian traders, and it actually means the coast. So the Arabian traders, when they met the people of modern day Eastern Africa, when they met these people along the coastlines, they called them the people of the coast, or the Swahili, and the language that they spoke was the Swahili language, and that name for the language stuck even though the name for the people did not. So we have the Swahili language, which we are going to learn and see about later. You will realize that a lot of the Swahili language you haven't realized you already knew. Religion. So another thing that we see in this diverse group of people is religion. We talked about religion in section 1 some. We're going to talk about it again here. Many people practice indigenous African religions, while others practice Islam or Christianity. Some mix the indigenous practices with another religion, and in the same way that we see variances in the type of secondary language that they speak in certain regions, like English in the South and Arabic in the North, we see the same thing with religion. Christianity is strongest in the southern part of the region, places like South Africa, while Islam is strongest in the northern parts of the region, places like Ethiopia and Sudan. So we can see the influences of the people that moved into these areas, and the history behind the area has impacted the way that culture is today in the languages and the religion that they practice. So that is all of our notes for today. Now we can go ahead and get started on our practice activity, or just our activity for the day. So while we talked about the different ethnic groups and religions in Southern and Eastern Africa, we talked about language as well, and we're going to see how we can do and how much of Swahili we can learn in just a little bit. So if you look on the daily announcement, there is a link to something called Swahili Basics. And so it just has a couple of different phrases and words that we use in our everyday life and what the translation is to Swahili. So it starts by saying the Swahili language is of Bantu origin, has borrowed words from other languages such as Arabic as a result of the Swahili people using the Quran written in Arabic for spiritual guidance as Muslim and trading between cultures. As regards to the formation of the Swahili culture and language, some scholars attribute these phenomena to the interaction of African and Asiatic people on the coast of East Africa. The Asiatic people meaning the African people. The word Swahili was used by early Arab visitors to the coast, and it means the coast. Ultimately, it came to be applied to the people and the language. Many newly formed languages utilize and absorb parts of other languages to form their own language. Here are some basics of Swahili. So on the left, we have some words in English, and on the right, we have some words in Swahili. And so what I want you to do is I want you to go through and see which ones are familiar. So a couple that you are going to see is the translation for friend and lion should be pretty familiar, as well as the translation for no problem. So what I want you to do is go through this, and then in the discussion post for the day, I want you to in Swahili tell me what your name is. So the last translation that we have on the list is my name is blank. So you're going to say my name is blank, but in Swahili, and then there is a video on how to count from 1 to 10 in Swahili. So I want you to read through this, see the different translations, and then answer the discussion post and watch the video about how to count from 1 to 10 in Swahili. Okay, and with all of that, I think we are done for the day. Tomorrow we will be talking more about Southern and Eastern Africa today. I think we're talking about conflicts tomorrow. And that should be it. So I will see you guys tomorrow. Have a great day. Let me know if you need any help or have any questions. Okay, bye.